let's get right into it because you've mentioned it. This is a deep group, and there's a lot to talk about with this group.
I mean, where do we start? Obviously, let's start with ESPN's number one rated overall player, James Pierce Jr., right? Coming off the edge.
Obviously, where else would we start? So,
I mean, are we talking are we still talking potential top draft pick? I know that was kind of thrown around earlier in the spring, and I kind of blew it off. And I mean, but seriously though, like, are we talking Heisman hype here, or I mean, is that just baloney talk? Take off the orange glasses. Like, what are the expectations for the accolades of James Pierce Jr. this year?
So I think James Pierce Jr. can absolutely be one of the top
All-American, by the way.
Oh yeah, preseason All-American. I think by the end of the season he will be first team All-American again. I don't see him being a contender for the Heisman because he's going to have so much attention put on him this year that it's going to be really hard for him to just be this outstanding player unless he is what people think he is out there and just an absolute monster. But also, when's the last time a defensive player won the Heisman? Was it Charles Woodson maybe?
Yeah, there's been several finalists. The Hutchinson from Michigan.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of the Boza kid. I think from Ohio State
and Chase Sue that should have won it.
Yep, Chase Young. I mean, you've had several finalists, but yeah, I think it's been a while. It's not in my head, dude. I can't think of it, but maybe Charles Woodson. But I only know that one because our guy got kind of robbed. Yeah. But no, I mean, I don't know. That's why I'm saying, like, it's hard to imagine a guy like James Pierce just solely because he's on the wrong side of the ball for a Heisman play. But at the end of the day, if you're talking best overall college football player, if he's making the offense change their entire scheme to block around him or to run away from him or whatever, how do you not reward that? I mean, because like you mentioned earlier, the offense, when we go, our opposing offenses are going to focus so heavily on how do we contain number 27. How do we keep him from getting to our quarterback? How do we keep him out of our backfield? That this is why I'm so excited about our defensive back group, our linebackers. I mean, it's going to honestly, the opposing edge rusher should have their best season, whoever that is. I mean, Joshua Joseph, Bryson Easton's going to be in the middle probably, but we've got some people on the other side of the ball. Tyree West. We're going to get through all of them, trust me. Yeah. But who's going to be on that opposite end? They should have a year, bro, because if they have the double James Pierce Jr., I mean that leaves, you know, 3 guys to 3 guys, and if you win your one-on-one, I mean, look out. Look, what psychs me the most is even if they doubled James Pierce Jr., I think of like the A&M game last year.
Yeah.
And now he literally just pushed him back. Like, maybe he didn't get to the quarterback. That's fine. But he was still able to make noise in the backfield, which caused commotion, put pressure on the quarterback, made him rush his throws, and he was never accurate. So I'm telling you, man, I don't think there's a way to stop it. I think it's inevitable, and I'm kind of excited about what this season entails for him. And I look forward to him getting started early. I think he's going to be coming right out the gates. I mean, I'm talking first drive against UT Chat, the first time their offense is on the field. I'm not saying he might get a sack in the very first 3 plays or whatever, but I would look for him to at least be in the backfield 100%. And I think UT Chat's going to expect that. So I don't know if they'll pass the ball too much.
Yeah, but you know, it's not just James Pierce Jr. because look at what you have in the middle.
Oh yeah,
you've got 6'2", 340-pound redshirt senior Elijah Simmons, along with 6'4", 325-pound senior Amari Thomas as well.
Those two need to be ballers, bro.
They have so much experience on this line. And they're so big and athletic as well. I mean, you saw numerous times last year where Amari Thomas, he would be behind the play and he would end up making the tackle on a play. I mean, a guy that's that big and can move to make a play like that when you're behind it, that's scary, man. That is absolutely scary. And I feel like when you've got a guy like James Pierce on the edge and then you've got 2 guys like this in the middle, man, you're 100% right. That backside edge, whoever is opposite of James Pierce Jr., should have a heck of a year getting downhill and getting not just sacks on the quarterback, but making plays in the backfield as well, just on running backs, wide receivers, whoever.
Absolutely. Matt Stone from YouTube said, "What's up, y'all? What's up, man? You a little excited, man? I mean, we're 13 days away, and what's up, y'all? We appreciate you tuning in, brother. We are talking about the defensive line. Quite honestly, the deepest room that I've seen at the University of Tennessee in my lifetime. I'm just going to be straight up. I'm looking at the names, bro. I'm looking at the names. I think our 3 deep could go with pretty much any team's one deep all day long. And so what Rodney Gardner and Tim Banks and Josh Heupel have done on this defensive line, nothing short of amazing. But we're going to keep on rolling with it. I mean, look, our projected ones, right? Projected ones. We're talking probably the names that we've talked about, right? Elijah Simmons, James Pierce Jr., Amari Thomas. Who's that other edge? Do you have any idea?
I'm going to go with the experienced guy, Joshua Josephs.
Yep.
But, they're going to rotate guys so much that it's really not going to matter. But I think he gets to start. But you're also going to bring in guys like freshman Jordan Ross on that side.
Don't forget about one guy. You're forgetting about a senior. Oh.
You talking about Elijah Herring?
Nope. Dominic Bailey.
Dominic Bailey. Yes.
Dominic Bailey. Don't forget about. I think he's quite honestly, he may be your listed starter. Now, like you mentioned, they're going to rotate guys so many times that it may not even matter. But you got a guy like Dominic Bailey, who's a 6'3", 280-pound redshirt senior. Dominic Bailey, I've heard some great things in camp about that guy. Really causing some commotion, as they should be, dude. If you're on the opposite side of James Pierce Jr., you've got to be making the most of that opportunity. But yeah, I mean, aside from him, 100%, you got Joshua Josephs. You got a guy like Tyree West, David Hobbs. He might be playing in the middle, actually.
And I actually misspoke. It's not Elijah Herring. It's Caleb Herring.
Yes.
Who I meant to say.
Yes, Caleb Herring. He's a sophomore. I think he's probably going to be in the 3D only because, man, the competition right now at 1 and 2 is insane. And by all means, I think we're going to see a lot of Caleb Herring. I really do. It's just, man, this room is so talented, so deep. You're going to see this defensive line rotate a lot more than you're going to see our offense, specifically because, one, we're not going to be facing a lot of offenses that play as fast as we do. So they're going to substitute, which is going to give our guys a chance to substitute. We've got the company now to where we can actually run different packages. Now, we ran the cheetah package last year, obviously, with Joshua Josephs, James Pierce Jr., Tyler Barron, I think, might have even subbed in and out. But you brought this up. We're talking about all this depth. And, yeah, we did lose Tyler Barron. But who else? As Alex tunes in on YouTube, says, "Go Big Orange." What's up, Alex? We appreciate you tuning in this Sunday afternoon. We are 13 days away, my man. It's going to be a good one. But who else did we really lose on the defensive line that was notable?
And both of us said off the top of our head, nobody that we can think of. And
I really can. Like, we were able to return all of our seniors.
Yeah. And there's also a name that we haven't mentioned yet that is obviously going to be in the 1 or 2 deep. That's Omar Norman-Lott, man.
Yeah, 100%. But he's going to be playing inside.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he's probably going to be just because of I think him and Elijah Simmons are actually going to be kind of splitting reps as a one, honestly, as a 1 or 2. Omar Norman-Lott definitely 100% going to be in the mix there. But another guy in that inside that is probably going to be 3 deep, which is crazy because he transferred in thinking to make some noise early on, and he will. Don't get me wrong, but Jackson Moy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Jackson Moy, the thing about him is he's very talented, but with the talent that's on the roster, man, it's just going to be hard to find a spot for him. But the good thing about this defensive line group is Rodney Garner is constantly just rotating guys, which is what makes this defensive line group so good.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about one guy too, which is crazy. We're going to say this quite a few times, but Bryson Eason.
Yeah.
Heard a lot of great things about Bryson Eason in the last week or two, just on the Sports Animal, post-practice interviews. I mean, Bryson Eason's making some noise for himself. He's going to be playing on the inside, but once again, probably your 2 deep guy. But look, again, our defensive line is going to be substituting quite often. So even if they're on the 3 deep, they're probably going to be playing 15 plays in a game. I mean, you're going to be splitting it up very well. You expect, I guess, 75 to 80 plays as a defense during a game. You might split that up to where it's 25, 25, and, 20, whatever, 30, 20, 20. I don't know. They're going to have a good rotation in regardless. I can't think of anybody off the top of my mind on our schedule that runs a super fast offense that would keep us from being able to do that. But
probably Mississippi State.
You think? I don't know their offense. Not with Jeff Lebby.
Well, yeah. I got you. That makes sense, actually.
Yeah,
because Jeff Lebby, he would be the one, right?
Yeah, he came from Oklahoma, and he's the one that taught Josh Heupel the offense.
100%. Okay, so they probably are going to be running something kind of similar. So maybe against Mississippi State, and then at that point, you're just going to have to rely on that you got better dudes, and stick with them. Don't get tired. Make sure you're conditioned up enough. But yeah, I mean, we've got shoot fire. I mean, who's one guy that we haven't touched on yet that that you think is going to make some noise this year?
I mean, just pick a name, man. I really feel like anybody.
Tyree Weathersby? Because
yeah,
that's the name that comes to my mind. That's another name that we haven't touched on, and I know for a fact I'm hearing him on the radio all the time. And
yeah,
I'm just like, here's one highly touted recruit last year, Shandavion Bradley. But he's buried. He's going to have to be a superstar. You don't have to be a superstar. That's a good thing. So maybe he just uses this time to obviously grow, develop, get some experience under his belt. When his name is called, make the most of it for sure. But Vols Time on YouTube tunes in. We appreciate you tuning in. Said the tight end should make some noise this season. You're absolutely right. We talked all about it. If you go to our channel, we've already done the preview on the tight ends, but we are very excited about Ethan Davis. That dude might just be that guy. All right. I'm just saying it. But right now, it's all about the defensive line. And boy, oh boy, am I expecting some big things out of them. Look, I'm expecting our defensive line to carry the weight. All right. I'm just going to be honest with you. They've got a lot of pressure on their shoulders, as they should. It's not like one guy's carrying the weight. Look, I know James Pierce Jr. is getting all the hype in the offseason. But as we've mentioned, man, you've got so much experience. You've got so much talent now on this defensive line that James Pierce Jr. shouldn't have to feel like he has to do it all. And I don't think he does. I don't think he does, not for 1 second. I think this unit's going to eat. I think they're going to play together. And I think they're going to make it very easy on our defensive backs and our linebackers. I don't think we'll have to blitz that often, dude. I'm being honest. I don't think we'll have to send 6, 7 guys like we had to in year 1 or year 2. And I think that helps you out in every facet of the game, because if you blitz less, you're playing maybe a little bit zone more, maybe some press man. If you're blitzing less, your linebackers don't have to sprint, or you don't have to have your corner coming in sprinting every play. You're getting to save those guys, right? You're not exerting so much, sprinting, I guess. Obviously, they're just worried about the run and coverage, but they're not having to run all the way across the field to do a blitz, because you just have to generate some pressure. I'm telling you, really excited about this group. It's so many of them. I think there's probably 12, 13, 14 deep in this unit, and you're going to see all of them. You're going to see absolutely every single one of them.
Yeah, and it's going to be key to have that 4-man pressure this year, because we have seen consistent improvement year after year under Josh Heupel and Rodney Garner since they have come onto the staff of being able to generate that 4-man pressure. I mean, you go to the 2022 team, you had to bring some linebackers, bring some safeties, bring some corners to generate that extra pressure. Last year, you didn't see it as much. You still saw it some, because that's just the type of coordinator that Tim Banks is. He is a very aggressive coordinator that wants to blitz. He wants to bring pressure, and he wants to man you up. And he hasn't been able to do that as much as far as in the secondary, but he's been doing that a lot as far as bringing pressure. And if you have that natural 4-man pressure, then that takes a big that takes a lot of pressure off of your defensive backs as well.
Yeah, I freaking love the play call, and I don't know. I don't have the playbook. I don't know what the play's called. But when you do your 4-man rush, you got 4 guys on the line.
Yep.
Let's say this is James Pierce Jr. lined up, right? And then you probably got Amari Thomas next to him. I love when Amari Thomas bumps out and then James Pierce Jr. comes up and around down the middle. And then you've seen it several times in his highlights. He crosses over behind and almost has like a straight beeline to the quarterback because the offensive line don't communicate well and they don't swap off their guy, right? And now you've got just a straight beeline. And that's kind of a pressure. That's a play call, but you're still only bringing 4 guys. And I freaking love when we do that. And I think you'll see that a lot this year.
But also, another wrinkle that was thrown into the bowl game that I think is going to really help James Pierce Jr. at the next level. You remember when he dropped back into coverage
His
against
coverage
Iowa
game.
And got the pick 6 in the game?
See, that shows me that he's not just a rusher, though, right?
Yes.
Like he knows how to stay home. He knows how to gap maintain. What's gap integrity? That's the word I'm looking for.
Yep.
We're getting better at this podcast, though, bro. Gap integrity, right? And then, like you said, dropping out in the flat. That nothing like throws a quarterback off when you're in shotgun. You see James Pierce Jr. lined up looking like he's about to eat, right? Yep. And then you take 2 steps back, and the guy you thought you were about to feel pressure from is now 10 yards back covering the exact guy you're about to go to.
Yep.
And like you said, pick 6 all day long. I think in order for him, and this is actually perfect timing, Vol's time. See what I did there? That's so awesome. Yeah, I don't get the credit I deserve, but it's all good. So he says James Pierce Jr. could be the first overall pick in the draft. I think he's onto something, but I think you're going to have to see a lot more than just sacking the quarterback. And if it's just sacking the quarterback, he's going to have to do it 17 times this year. I think you're going to have to do exactly what you're talking about. Play some zone, get an interception, get a strip sack fumble to win the game. You're going to have those dramatic moments from him to be the first overall pick.
And, we talked about possibly being a Heisman finalist at the very front part of this segment. The only way that's going to happen is if you make plays like that. You've got to get that interception. You've got to get that strip sack that ends up winning the ball game. You got to make some sort of play like that to get noticed to be able to be put on that Heisman ballot as well. But you've also got to consistently do what you did last year and improve upon that as well.
Absolutely. Chimes in one more time. We appreciate you watching. Says Pierce makes teams fear the orange. I mean, I hope all of our guys make teams fear the orange, honestly. Yeah. And I think we got that.
Yeah, I do want to throw this comment on here, though. So, we're just absolutely praising the defensive line group, just like pretty much everybody else has so far in the offseason. I believe it was this past week at the Vols media, Rodney Garner was asked a question about the outside hype being built around the Tennessee defensive line. His response, who's praising these guys?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Rodney Garner, he's a character, man, but dude is an awesome coach, and Tennessee is very lucky to have him.
Well, and he's right.
Yeah.
He's right. People are praising them like us that don't matter. Doesn't matter what we say. Doesn't matter what anybody says. Rodney Garner's with that group every day. And unless they perform on the field on Saturdays, doesn't matter what the hype is around the group, And it's all about doing your job, right? And so he's in the, 13, 14, we'll just call it 16 deep in this group. We got 4 rotations, I guess, if you want to call it, of guys. And, they all expect the same out of each one, whether you're on the 4th team or you're on the 1st team. And I hate calling it 1st or 4th team because I'll be honest with you, man, I seriously think this. You're going to have 3 first teams. It's just going to be different packages. Like, that's the way I view this defensive line. And so, but whatever package you're on, you got to do your job. And you're going to be expected the same amount of each group as the next guy. And if you don't perform, obviously none of this hype train matters. And none of this rotation matters. But, like, I'm interested to see just how many play because, I look at a guy like David Hobbs, Davion Bradley, who, last couple cycles, we really praised these recruits and how big they were, and they are. How are they going to develop with all this talent in the room? Are they going to still be locked in for next year when we're really going to need some of these guys like that? Very interested to see their development, like Caleb Herring too. Just kind of seeing how this coaching staff develops those guys. and hopefully getting them to stay here. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want ever to. I know we have to talk about it because that's just the way the game is now. If you don't get your playing time, or if you don't get your money, or whatever, obviously you look for better, greener pastures, whatever. But I really want these guys to stick around. I think it could be special for them.
Yeah, and a guy like Jordan Ross, incoming freshman this year,
Yes,
there is
100%.
so much hype around him. I feel like he's going to see the field in one of these rotations, but if he doesn't get the playing time that maybe he thinks that he should get this year, does he move on next year? I certainly hope not.
Yeah,
But,
I'm not either.
I mean,
Jordan Ross, another name I didn't even bring up. That's, I mean, dude, like, come on. It's a talented group. Everybody knows it. Really ready to see it. The defensive line, ladies and gentlemen, that is when everybody talks about our defensive backs and question marks, and it's kind of scary because they're all new. I'm not worried. Like, I'm telling you, our opposing quarterbacks are about to have 3 seconds tops. It's no longer going to be this sit in the pocket for 5, 6, 7 seconds to find their guy open. That's done with our defensive line. There's no shot. The only way that happens is if we only rush 3, and even then, I think we'd still win. There is no shot I see any quarterback unless they scramble and make some plays. I mean, obviously, you got a guy like Cook, which we're not playing Missouri this year, but
no.
Who knows? Graham Mertz is very experienced. Maybe he can roll outside the pocket.
I think there is Jackson Arnold.
He's talented. Maybe if they make some plays, but I don't see them being able to take their time in the pocket. No way.
I think there is 2 teams on Tennessee's roster that, and Vols Time says it, Rodney Garner, dude is the man. I mean, Tennessee is very lucky to have him, but
I love how so many people doubted him in the first year, bro.
Oh, yeah, and look where we're at now.
Look at where we're at now. That's crazy.
I think there's 2 teams on the roster that are on the schedule this year that we play that can slow down Tennessee's pass rush. I don't think they can stop them because of how talented they are, but they can slow them down some.
Georgia.
Yep.
And the second team. I'm going to go Alabama.
It's Alabama.
Yeah, I'm going to go Alabama.
It's
definitely not Oklahoma. They just revamped their whole offensive line. Now, they may be a talented group, but we play them pretty early in the season, so maybe they've not worked out all their kinks yet. So we'll see, though.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, even with new head coach Kalen DeBoer, I mean, you really didn't have a whole lot of turnover on the offensive line part. No. And even then, he brought in some guys that fit his type of offensive mold. So I think that Alabama.
I'm glad you brought that up. Jalen Milroe, he's going to make some plays. But that's different. Am I right? Like, if he rolls out, scrambles, that's one thing. He's not going to be able to sit in the pocket, though. Even with Alabama's offensive line, I don't see him being able to just continuously sit in the pocket. Like that last play against Auburn where he just kind of sat back there, and there's no way that happens against our defensive line. There's no shot. I may have to eat crow at the end of this year, after a game or something where that does happen. But I don't see it, man. I don't see it. There's no way. Our group is way too talented, 3 deep. I don't see it, man. No way.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. This is a super exciting group this year. And really, we've hit on it numerous times. It's just a matter of who all's going to see the field and how much are they going to get to see the field because of the rotation, the talent, the packages that Tennessee's going to run. I mean, it's going to be exciting to watch this year.
Defensive line, all of them, Heisman finalists. Elijah Simmons, Big Amari Thomas. The whole Heisman Trophy ceremony is just going to be our defensive line, bro.
You know what we need in college football? You know how we have the Joe Moore Award for the best offensive line? We need some sort of award for the best defensive line because this
is there
group
not?
Right here, I don't think there is.
I know there's an award for the best defensive player, but
yeah, I don't think that there's like a defensive line award.
Okay, fair enough.
Like I said, I know you got the Joe Moore Award that goes to the best offensive line, as a position group for a team, which Michigan has won the last 2 years. But I don't think there is a award for defensive line group.
That's fair. Well,
if there was, this group has got a good chance of winning it. So